Folks, you know what? It's Wednesday, and welcome to Phoenix Business Exchange, East End edition. And this fine August 14th. Did I say August 14th? Where's the summer going, right? It's going fast. Temperatures are nice and mild right now here in the Ottawa area. And so this is good stuff. So what's Phoenix all about? Well, let me share a screen with you. That way you can see what's going on. Just give me a thumbs up, Sam, once you see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. You're shaking your head no. You're shaking your head no. Oh, you're all shaking your head no. There we are. There we go. All right. You want to, Wendy? Thank you so much. I enjoy the sparkle. So that's cool. All right. You want to find the website pbex.ca. Just click on it, get there, and you'll find a wealth of information. Member of the week, Patricia Ramirez. She's up and running, and her e-card's all there. Her little videos there. Reach out to Patricia, and she can help you out. And now, how to find us online? Well, Monday mornings, Bell's Corners. Click here. Today, click here. Come on in. If you're watching this, and you want to come in on Zoom, and you're running a business, you want to connect, click on in. Thursday morning, South End Group. And every Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month, we have a meeting at 7 p.m. All Phoenix members are welcome. Penny Lee runs that group, and it's about accountability. She helps. She doesn't stand there like with a whip and a stick type thing, but she helps guide you to remind you. So that's kind of the piece on there. On Fridays, you want to get kind of mellow, tune in with Tony at 1:30 p.m. and you get a free meditation class and just kind of zone out and just get chill. And if you're getting chill, you may as well get your body in alignment. And there's some moving is medicine NIA classes with Lee. So upcoming in-person meetings. So if the in-person meeting's happening, the Zoom meeting is not. Okay, so heads up on this. So South End Group is meeting August 22nd. So that's next week, 7:30 at the River Lounge. Bell's Corners is meeting on Monday, August 26th, and they're meeting at High Fives in Bell's Corners. And the East End Group is meeting at Big's Grill on September 11th. All right. And the beauty of that is it's off Saint Laurent. So we're in the three different parts of the city. Come on in, visit us. You want to do it in person. You want to know who's all part of Phoenix? Get into the QR directory. And what really makes it handy, you'll see the QR code on the screen. You'll see one behind me. And what that is, it's your business card. All right. And it has a wealth of information. You can port in instantly your contact details to someone else's phone. So if you're seeing somebody, you want to talk to them, you can save it. You'll have their email, you'll have their text, you'll have their phone, you'll have their website, and infomercials, any of the stuff they're into, right? It's right in there. What else is going on, you ask? Well, funny you should ask that. Yeah. Oh, look at that. We raised about 41K worth of business or 41K in funds for local charities. We have some updated information that'll be coming back in from the last golf tournament. And you know what? Sam, thank you for the t-shirts. Wendy, thank you for bringing a team out to play. That was awesome. That was really good. And what else is going on? Well, we've done over $123,000, actually almost $124,000 worth of business year to date between members, just in referrals back and forth. That's over $4.6 million worth of business since 2016. Referral wise, year to date, we're at 322. BAM's 320. What's a BAM? Well, that's not a stick over the head. That is a business activity meeting. That's where you get to have a chat with somebody. And you have these chats on a regular basis with other members in Phoenix. The purpose behind that is, hey, things change. What's happening? What are you looking for? Or is there a particular target audience you're seeking it, or do you have a particular new feature that you've launched? Like, Sam does tires, but you know what? He does brakes. He does dash cams. Sam's got a whole cornucopia of stuff. Wendy, she's got some cool stuff on the go. She finds you a home or sells your home. Whatever happens. And Susan sells Maluka products, and Penny Lee, well, she just makes your legs go all over the place, but in a good way, as opposed to just crashing down the stairs. And Tony, well, he'll just get you right with right as rain. I'm going to stop chatting away because you know what? We are now going for our educational minute, and that is with Penny Lee. Over to you, Penny Lee.
Thank you. Hang on. Oh, okay, I'm not muted. Okay, good. All right, so I wanted to talk today about referrals and generating referrals. So generating referrals is really not rocket science. It takes a little bit of work though, but it should be cemented as a personal mindset into every touch point that you have with the customer base and with your networking partners. Asking for referrals must be second nature, like breathing. So the challenge is, how do you get customers and networking partners to actively promote us? So the answer is, you have to train them. You got to train them and remind them constantly and make it simple and easy for them. So here's 4 basic steps to make referrals generate a little more easily. So number 1, constantly ask for referrals. I know that is one of my weaknesses. I don't necessarily constantly ask, but it's really important to remind people. So there we go. Too many business people forget to ask. The best time to do so in the midst of delivering excellent service to either a client or your networking partner. Start with service. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a great book to review so that you can understand the power of influence. So if a client can trust you to handle their affairs with you excellently, they'll be more likely to tell family and friends about you as well. Don't just ask, educate. Teach customers and networking partners how to refer to you. Did you know that most referrals are given to help a friend resolve a money problem? All you need to do, or a health problem, all you need to do is show them how you can help them help their friends. So highlight life events that might trigger the need for professional service or advice. And that way clients will know a referral opportunity when they see it. This is the biggest improvement you can make in your referral campaign. Number 3, remind them to refer you. Talk to all current and past customers and your networking partners regularly, and always include a request for referrals. Out of sight is out of mind. So include a reminder in your email signature or other correspondence. It can be as simple as mentioning that you're always available to assist their friends. So that's something I want to add to my signature as well, because I don't think I have something like that I'm looking for referrals. And number 4, say thank you and do it often. Remember, most referrers are motivated to help you because you help them. So be excited, have a party or appreciation event for a customer. If a client refers a friend, send a handwritten thank you note with a gift card or to their favorite restaurant or coffee shop. You know what? You don't even need to do that. You could give them a thank you card, and just the thank you card will remind them of you. I know many realtors actually at the post office, many realtors come in with just thinking of you cards. There's no gift card or anything in the card. They're just keeping in touch with their clients that they've served in the past, so that they remind them that they're still there to help them and their family members. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be a gift card or anything in there. You can just send a card and say, hey, I've been thinking of you. Hope everything's going well. Hope you're healthy, and just touch base, and they appreciate that. You can also give credit for a service or for referring a friend to you. They also get a credit. So there's lots of different ways that you can reward and motivate your clients and networking partners to be able to work with you to refer people. So that is today's education.
Good.
Ellie, thank you so much. So we are live on Facebook and LinkedIn. The LinkedIn feed, I just put in the chat, so you can put your contact details there. Good way to share that information about yourself. Now we're going to do a round robin of, hey, what's up? What's happening? What referrals? What BAMs? What things you looking for? Kind of like you're doing a mini BAM right now. And we're going to start off with Susan Ebbs.
Thank you so much, Bernie. I kind of suspected you were going to take me this morning. Hello, everyone. I'm Susan Ebbs, and I'm with a company called melaleuca.com. And we like to help people improve their health. Number one, you can't make money if you're not healthy. So let's get the toxins, chemicals out of your homes. So often these are causing conditions like asthma, autism, and ADHD are on the rise in the school system. One of my favorite products is something called Solumel. There's no chemicals in this, no chlorine bleach, no phthalates, none of, and it smells nice. Now, this is a multi-purpose product. It can kill bugs, for instance, ants, mosquitoes. It can clean up pet messes, or it can just freshen your kitty litter when you change the litter. And it's a great overall cleaner for your carpets and any surfaces. Now, the last point I'll make, this is a concentrated thing, and you put a little bit in the bottom of the sprayer bottle, just like that. And the rest is water. So you're saving yourself money because a little goes a long way, and you're saving the environment. We're not putting as many bottles into the environment. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the bottles in the oceans clogging up the waterways. So enough of the negativity. Give a spray, clean your house. Susan Ebbs from melluca.com.
Any BAMS referrals, Susan?
Oh, yes. Terry Black and I connected, and we've got another meeting scheduled on the 30th. And I invited a gentleman to our meetings. We were out buying a car yesterday, and he sounds very interested in networking. So I gave him the coordinates. So looking forward to meeting him. I think he could be a good addition to our club.
Susan, thank you so much. And we'll go over to Wendy and then Penny Lee. When Sam comes back, we'll inject him into the fray. Wendy, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Wendy Chung, real estate broker with Century 21 Synergy, one of the team leads from the Ottawa Housing Condo Group. As you know, I serve clients right through the Ottawa area, but I have an amazing network of other agents who are an extension of myself. My friends recently reached out to me. They actually live in Iqaluit, and one of them, their mom has a home in Cambridge, Ontario. They asked me if I could list it or co-list it with another agent in the area, but again, it is not my market. Real estate is hyper-local. So make sure that if you have a client or a friend or a family member who's looking to sell a property somewhere else other than Ottawa, they can always reach out to me and I can search through my network and interview a few agents. So I did refer an agent to my friend, and so far, so good. He is extremely professional, and I'm very, very pleased that my friend asked me for the referral. So they're going to be working together, and they're going to be moving forward and signing a listing agreement next week. Again, I have a very strong network of realtors right across, not only Ontario, but right across Canada and around the world. So if you know of anyone who is looking for real estate help, please let me know. I don't have any BAMs to report this week, but I do look forward to booking some of those BAMs in the near future. Thank you.
Wendy, thank you so much. And Penny Lee, over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Penny Lee Provo, the Dancing Motivator, co-founder of the Graduate Thrivers with my business partner, Liz M. Raymond. Today, I wanted to remind you that I am working on implementing all my skills in one location for a retreat that we are planning for women in the Laurentians at Morin Heights, actually. Beautiful at the end of September. It's September 19th to the 22nd. It's a 3-night event, 3 sleepovers, so that's lots of fun. But I'm working with, collaborating with Elaine, who is a nutrition coach, and she also teaches foraging. So she has written a cookbook based on her grandmother's recipes that she has converted to gluten-free, dairy-free, and using healthier options of sweetened to sweeten the recipes. So instead of using sugar, she uses other things. So it's a great learning experience. Of course, I will be teaching mindset work, the belief systems, what they are considering as far as their health and how to make positive changes. And of course, incorporating the movement through connecting with your body through the NIA technique, moving your body's way for healing. So that's what I'm looking for this week. We have 2 spots left, which is super exciting. So if you know somebody who would like to connect with like-minded, positive women who are looking to improve health and easily attract their health goals, I would love to talk to them. So movement is medicine, and at Graduate is where success takes flight. Thank you.
Kelly, thank you so much. And Tony, what are you up to?
Thank you, Bernie. Just working at some stuff. Oh, also, had a great meeting with Penny Lee yesterday. But hi, everybody. Tony Jennings from Higher Self. I'm the spirit guy of the group. I'm a medium, clairvoyant. I just finished a week of teaching some very energetic ladies feng shui to look at their homes in a way that will bring in prosperity, love, good health, that kind of thing. It was a real honor to be able to do that. They had some amazing questions, and it just goes to show when you start thinking a different way, your whole strategy changes. It's like chess, you know. If somebody looks at a chessboard and they don't know how the moves go, it's very, very confusing. It's when you know what the moves do, what the moves can do, and how the rook goes where it goes, and the bishops and so on. Once you know all the moves, then the fun of it is strategy. Your whole idea is to trap the other person in this way. Well, feng shui is a little bit like that, where you're using various principles that are absolute. It's been around for 4,000 years, like water flows downhill, things like that. And you're using it to be able to bring in prosperity in your home. And it's just like acupuncture for your home. It's pretty cool. Every Friday at 1:30, we do a free online meditation class, and it involves a little bit of education of some of the things that are around us. We are talking about the 4 agreements. It's a book that came out about 30 years ago, and there was 4 principles that guarantee happiness. We talked about it last week. It was don't take anything personally. Our society is very good at making us and our bodies inadequate, and so we're always frustrated with, we're always falling short of how we look or how we do things. And when people say something, they're not saying it to hurt you. They're saying it because in some way it benefits them at the time. When we wonder, why would a person say that? They don't even know me. Why would they call me stupid? And we see this online with social media all the time. When you put up a post and then somebody will have a comment that's sort of negative. And it's just, how would they even know you? It's just that they're looking at it from their eyes. They're not out to hurt anyone, but just to be who they are. If they are telling themselves that they're an idiot, then they will spot other people, and to their perception, it'll seem like everyone's an idiot. And when we start to realize that, we get less and less connected to that. So we're not really connected to anything personally. That is the one of the biggest agreements. The next one we're going to be doing this Friday is don't make assumptions. And how many times do we do that? We look at something and right away we jump to a conclusion. Oh, then this happens. I had a client that just texted me recently, and she says on garbage day, somebody put a suitcase at the end of her driveway so the people picking up the garbage can take it. She got so offended. And I go, why? Well, because somebody put garbage at the end of my laneway. That's okay. Wait a couple of hours and it'll be gone. So just something as simple as that, you get very upset with, but who cares? When we taking it personally, it sure gets us going in that way. Um, so Tony Jennis from Higher Self, we are here to raise your spirits. I had a BAM with Penny Lee yesterday, a marvelous one. She reminded me that her Friends for Friday, Friends Friday, is she does it every month, and it's like a potluck. People just get together, and people thought it was for business, but it's just a way of making friends in a local way. So it's great. I'm going to see if I can come to the next one. Fridays is usually pretty packed for me, but for Penny Lee, I'll try to make an effort to get out there and just meet some of the folks. She's up to about a dozen people right now, I think, that meet every week, and it's all different people. And yeah, it's just great. I do really well in those small groups, no matter what happens there. Also had Penny Lee. I also put you down for the course that was on the weekend, so that is definitely business. And Lana, I had a BAM with her. Cindy and Jacqueline had a BAM with her as well, and I did business with Dave. Okay.
Ooh, Dave's back.
Is Dave back? Well, it was a couple of weeks ago. I think it was just before he went on holiday or something. But I'm not sure if he's back yet. No.
Okay.
But yeah, I did business with him.
Sorry, Bernie. I always forget to do my referrals at the end of my thing. So I just
Well, Penny Lee, we won't tap your hand, but go ahead.
Because I wanted to reiterate that Tony and I had a BAM yesterday, which was fantastic. But I also took his course on Sunday, so that was or Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it was. It must have been Sunday. Anyways, so that was also very helpful. I wanted to let you know, Bernie, and I don't know if you're still working with that company with the spray, but I had some bugs in my money plant the other day, and I thought, I'm going to take that spray out, and I sprayed it, and all of the bugs are gone, which is fantastic, but it's got lots of new life too as a result. So I don't know exactly what's in that spray, but it was really exciting to get rid of that. I wanted to let you know, I had already mentioned to Tony, I invited 3 people to come visit Phoenix. And one's a contractor, one's a mortgage agent, and the other one does event rentals, which I thought would be kind of handy if, I can refer them business for weddings and stuff. And I have ongoing business with Susan M as well. And I'm going to be booking an appointment with Shane as soon as I get my foot fixed. So I've got lots of potential connections as well. So thanks so much.
Okay, Penny. So just so you know, the spray, the hypochlorous acid spray, is not a pesticide. So the bugs moving off, that's a bonus. Your plants are probably getting more invigorated because any bacteria, mold, or fungus that's growing on your plants are not. And so it probably had a chance in that regards. Hey, Sam, what up? Tell us what's happening in your world other than you're on your phone now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to my computer, but I'm on my phone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. You're loud and clear.
Excellent. Good. I'm using my phone for this, so bear with me. Thank you very much, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Sam Sturz, connectedcars.ca. Let's see here. Well, back from my holidays, freshly back, first week back. Had a great time. Did some water skiing, did some pickleball playing, and then even had to replace the starter on my Sea-Doo. So I've expanded my mechanical skills to working on Sea-Doo. So anybody has a Sea-Doo, I can say what to do. It's a tight fit when you're working on a starter and a Sea-Doo, boy. It's a pretty close call. Anyway, I do dash cameras, as you guys all know. I also do car detailing, brakes, as Bernie mentioned earlier in the meeting. Even headlight refinishing. So if you're interested in anything like that, or you have a referral, I'd appreciate it very much. BAMS wise, let's see, I gave a referral to Q Nguyen, our life insurance lady, person looking for life insurance, referred her to them. And I'm waiting for Dave to get back because I'm waiting for my smoked salmon. So that's it for me. Sam Sturris, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of a new vehicle, and lots more.
Zooming in and out. All right, folks. Eric's going to be doing the presentation, so I'll get in touch with Eric in a second. So I'll just do, hey, what do I do? So, Creative Insight, we're a business concierge. We connect businesses. We try to find a good fit and good cross connections between individuals. Referred people inside the Phoenix space and in the World Referral Network and these trade wins. These trade wins, by the way, will be ramping up September 3rd. So we're back to normal schedule. We'll put out some content information once a week. So if you're signed up in that space, you'll see an email come out on Fridays. Right now, I'm also going back to what Penny Lee was talking about with the regards to the spray. We're looking to do a demo of a device that pushes that agent into the air. The demo is meant for two things. One, to get customer feedback. Even if you're not interested in buying the unit itself, you might want to rent it, or you have a cleaner who comes into your space. This stuff, we're going to head into flu and cold season. And if you have a lot of volume traffic in there, or you have an office space where there's a fair number of people, what better, and especially if they have kids, what better way to keep the cold and flu at bay a bit more? It's like using a toothbrush, or washing your hands after you've done something. It helps clean the space so you don't further along the pathogens in that space. Without getting into the science of it all, check out the link. Check out the website cleanshieldsolutions.com. And with that, without much more ado, Eric, over to you, sir.
Good morning. Sorry that I'm late. I played out of town soccer last night, and I didn't get back home till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
so
wow.
so I'm paying the price now. But it's okay. I had a client calling at 8 o'clock this morning, so things could be better, things could be worse. I want to share my screen. Just a sec. Where is that?
Recording in progress.
I don't know what happened to the share my screen thing. Oh, there it is.
Sam, you want to mute one of your devices? Thank you. Screen share is up. Your email is up in front of us right now.
You're on mute as well, by the way. I think that was me. Sorry.
So you're still on mute, Eric, and go to F5 if you're doing a slide presentation. F5 or upper left-hand corner for the presentation. You're still on mute.
I have the slide presentation, but someone muted me. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was me. I was going to mute someone else, but the screen moved and I muted you.
All right.
It's a test, Eric. It's a test, Eric.
Yeah, it's a
Keep
test.
going.
All right. So
your slide presentation is not in presentation mode. It's I see your PowerPoint, but I don't see the presentation.
Well, that's coming. You see now that?
No, negative. You're I see the small little square where you're
Just
to launch the
full screen.
Well, he's got to launch the presentation. That's it.
That? You see that?
No, I see it, but you're still inside your PowerPoint. You're not inside presentation mode.
Well, I'm not in presentation mode yet. Just a sec.
Understood.
Anyways, I'm going to talk about things that...
I'm going to stop you there for a second, Eric. I apologize. Right now, I see a really small box inside your desktop. Your desktop really looks good with that blue fan wave, but enlarge the box for the PowerPoint software.
How's that?
There we go. There's one.
Thank you, sir.
Things that we all, some of us have, that we think one way and the government thinks another way. One of the things that some of us in this group have is offices out of our home and the ability to write off home expenses, like running of the home expenses, like heat, hydro, mortgage interest, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we believe. Then you have the government who looks at it from a different perspective. We believe we work, our home is our business, and therefore what we spend is business expense. The government thinks of our home being only 20% business. Now, why does the government think it's 20% business? And the government, about 40 years ago, 40, 50 years ago, decided to give this as a incentive for people to work out of their homes, for people to be able to write off their cost. And they didn't know what barometer to take. So they took the barometer of the municipal governments, which say that if you use your home, if 20% of your home is a business, you're changing the use of your home. It's no longer a home; it's a commercial property, and therefore your property taxes will change, and all that kind will change. Now, in a perfect world, that's true. But in our world, that may not be true. You may be living in a one-bedroom house. So how is that going? How the 20%? The 20% would be ridiculous for someone living in a one-bedroom house, or in a Sandy Hill no-bedroom house, where you have a space, and when it comes to go to sleep, you open the wall and the bed comes down. But in the morning, you put the bed back up, and you take your desk and you plug your computer, and you become you become a mortgage agent, you become an accountant, you become something else, right? So in that case, you would say, well, all of it is business. So you have that extreme, and you have the government 20%. In between those extremes, we are located. So if you have a home office expenses that is more than 25% of your home, I would suggest that you keep good records, you save all of the receipts, and you expect the government to question it. If you have home office expenses that are less than 20% of your home cost, I would say that they're never going to call you. Judging from my experience, like I've been in practice for 35 years, I have never seen someone being called for less than 20% home office expense. So that is the barometer that we use at the office. If someone has more than 25%, we make sure that they know the rules. We make sure that we have the information here, and we expect a call from the government. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't come. It depends whether the business is precipitating a loss with a home office expense, or not precipitating a loss. So that's home office expense. The next thing we see here is, what is a home office expense? And there are two ways that the government gives you home office expenses. For people who are in business, most of you here, and for people who are employees who work out of their own home, like the people who were working during COVID times and who are still working at home. And the expenses those people get are different than what business people get. They are flavored with the fact that is not a business, that is an employee working out of your own home, and there are certain expenses that you don't get. You get rent and utilities, but but you don't get mortgage interest. You don't get property taxes. You don't get any of those expenses that are owner of the building expenses. And during COVID, lots of people came here with all of that list of expenses, and we had to curtail it back to what employees get. The other misconception you have in taxation is automobile expenses. Because most of us, especially those of us in real estate, in mortgage brokers, to just name two types of businesses, think we live in our cars. Think we're traveling and we're living in our cars. We know things that and we put hundreds of thousands of kilometers after 5 years. That's what we think. The government thinks otherwise. The government thinks that very few people live out of their car. That they have a home, they have a spouse, they have kids, they have a dog, and therefore they cannot live in their car all the time. And the government thinks that people expand on this definition way too often. So one of the things that happens is that when we do mileage, we have to do it with a view on what we do for a living. An accountant like me cannot write 80% of their car because we don't go that many places and people come to see us. A real estate agent like Wendy is most likely to say, nobody comes to my office. I go to places. So the way that CRA looks at it is based on what you do for a living and what you sell for a living. If the customer comes to your house, then your automobile expenses are going to be in the 20% range. If you go to visit your customer and that's how you do business, then the automobile range is going to be anywhere from 70 to 80%. In fact, the CRA takes the position that if you drive 90% for business, you might as well take the whole thing. You might as well take 100%. Because you have no life, from their perspective, right? So, but if you drive 90% for business, they will challenge it all the time. Now, how that can happen is accidentally. For many years, I've had a client who was an IT consultant and had automobile expenses in the range of 30 or 40%. His wife was a shareholder in the company. So she leaves her job and she becomes a retail consultant. And she travels all over the place and she writes off her car. She uses her car for business. So when we sent the company's mileage expense, the government must have had a heart attack because they saw this huge thing and they, of course, audited because they didn't believe that he drove that much. And I said, well, he didn't drive that much. The other partner drove a lot. And we had to give to the day expenses for the automobile, what the automobile was on a daily basis. And it took like 8 or 9 months to resolve with the government because they just could not get their head around it, that the company could go from 20% to 80% driving. And I said to them, well, the company changed. It had 2 partners. And that's something that sometimes the government has to be taught about these differences. Also, the government needs to be taught about the business that you're in. Some people have trouble explaining to the government what you do for a living. I am doing an appeal for people that were at one time members of Phoenix, and the appeal is because they run homes for the emotionally and emotionally disturbed or people with problems and so on. They rent 2 or 3 homes. The government refused the rent because they thought they were a home-based business. And I explained to them, yes, they're a home-based business, but their business is to rent homes. And that we're still fighting with the government about. And that is going to tax court. So governments sometimes if they get into their heads who you are, and you're not good enough to explain to them what you do for a living, you get into trouble. Now, this happened because in the 2014 to 2015 years, this client used a person that was cheap and didn't charge that much for doing taxes, and did it without getting receipts or anything like that, by approximation. And when you do that, you better be in a position to pay a lot in tax, because if you decide that you're going to write off everything and pump up automobile expenses and pump up rental expenses and pump all of that up, the government is going to wait 3 years and then audit you, which is what happened. Okay, they waited 3 years and started the procedures to audit. In this case, they waited 7 years, to audit. So, it can be very, and it can be very difficult, because if they audit you 7 years after the year that you in question, I don't know how meticulous you keep your books, but I don't have any one client that can tell me what they had for breakfast 7 years ago. And I don't have any one client that can tell me how they drove their car 7 years ago. They have enough trouble telling me what they did last year. So if you go 7 years back, you're going to have to start rebuilding the case. You're going to have to start taking information and be developing, asking for what the client does on a daily basis, and then documenting that, and then extrapolating automobile expenses from that, and extrapolating other expenses from that. So it becomes a very tedious job. Now, I'm having this here because, at least judging from my clients, they don't understand COVID benefits. They understand they got a benefit, but they don't understand COVID benefit. And if you read the news, the government is suing lots of people now. So the first thing is that if you got a $40,000 loan and a $20,000 or a $10,000 forgivable support, that forgivable support, you have to include in your income at the time you got the loan, not at the end of the loan. At the time you got the loan, because you got the $20,000 at that time. If you got $2,000 a month for the CERB, and you were not needing that money, or you were married and your spouse continued to work and make money, that is something that you should be repaying. And I did 2 or 3 of my clients that were in that position, that collected CERB without telling me, because people do these things without telling me. This is the problem. If you were to tell me, I would give you a negative story. I would say, don't do it, but you would be safer. But then if you don't tell me, you do it, then things happen. So the tax, the support that happened is that the government expects you to have $20,000 or $10,000, depending on what kind of program you were on, to declare it as income. And that is income that you have to include in your current year taxes. And if you don't do it, then they go from sending you a letter to freezing your bank account. So, before they used to send you a letter, someone would call you, then collections would call you, then they will fight with you, and then after 2 or 3 years, they will freeze your bank account. For CERB, they send you a letter, you don't respond to it, they freeze your bank account. And we've had 8 or 9 people calling us frantic that they froze their bank account because of this. And then we have to call, we intercept the government, and we have to send an objection, We send an objection is to freeze the bank, is to unfreeze the bank. And then when we send the objection, we are ready to pay the government. So it is it's a way that we have of delaying, and a way we have of getting enough time to get the $20,000 or $30,000 in place to give it to the government, so that when the objection is heard, the account is paid, and we say never mind. The other thing that I want to talk about today, besides this is very negative, is the change in use rules. The change in use rules is very, like this academically, my dog can understand academically. But in practice, it's very difficult to understand because we lead fluid lives. So what happens in changing rules is you have a house, you work out of your house, and then you decide to move to Saskatchewan and keep your house here, and move to Saskatchewan and be there for 4 years. And while you're in Saskatchewan, you're going to rent your house to, a tenant. So unbeknownst to you, what you've done when you left your house and got a tenant, you changed the use of your house from a personal residence to a rental property. And that's neither here nor there. But when you do that, you affect the capital gains disposition rules when you sell the house, because you're no longer selling a personal residence house, you're selling a residence that was at one time a rental property. And the capital gain is flavored like that. So if you make $400,000 in the sale of your house, and you had it and you changed the residence for 4 or 5 years, and you own the house for 10 years, your capital gain is half of the capital gain exemption is probably less than half of what you think it is. So you would have to curtail it if that period extends longer, and it's been a rental residence for 15 years, and 18 years ago you were living there, and then you rented it for the next 15 years, then you don't have a capital gains exemption for your personal residence. It's no longer a personal residence to say, and it was a rental property. So that's some of the questions we discuss in the office that people have trouble understanding, because it becomes, how dare the government say that it's not my house? It was my house. I just wasn't living in it. Yeah, that's the definition of a personal residence. And you can only have one. You cannot have 5 houses, and one is a personal residence of your spouse that you no longer get along with, and then your kids that you no longer get along with, and they're living independently there, because the government comes and talks to your neighbors. And when they talk to your neighbor will say, well, the spouse, yeah, I didn't know they were not getting along. She or he lives here. The kids, well, they're in university. They're not. And that's when you go from generally accepted entice principles to fraud. That's what they entice you with. Because if a business or a person is not a challenge under the avoidance rules, under the GAR provisions of the Tax Act, if they don't do that, the only way the government can sue you is under the criminal system with fraud. And it's a very big step from generally accepted avoidance rules to fraud. But some people cross that line. And you cross that line when you lie to the government as to what your life is like. Now, the reason the government can find that easily is because governments, when they give up on you, on what you're telling them, do a personal net worth statement. In other words, you say to the government that your only source of business is your business and you don't make any money. You live in a $400,000 home that is paid for, you have a $75,000 car, and you have no debt. The government would say, well, who paid for that? You could say financing. Well, financing, where is the 20% of that? Where is the money that came, for the investment in that? And that's what the government does. And when they do a personal net worth statement, you have lost. When people lose with government is on two issues: employee-employer relationship and personal net worth statement. Because the personal net worth statement takes 3 or 4 years for the government to compile. So when they've compiled it, they've talked to your bank, they've talked to your insurance company, they've talked to all of those people behind your back, and they make them sign a document that says that they are not going to talk to you about it. And the employee-employee relationships, which is, it doesn't affect you that much if you have one employee that you're fooling around with and you treat it as a consultant. But if you have 8 or 9 people that work for you, and they're all you give them T4As and you say that they are consultants, and they come for one, and that one they rule as an employee, all of the other ones would be an employee. And that's where the expense happens. And some people have tested that rule much bigger than we are, much bigger than as enterprises, like big organizations have tested it and they've lost. I know this well because I used to be a teaching assistant at York University when I was in school. And York University decided that we were self-employed, that they were not going to take any deductions. So and Osgood Hall, the law side of York, said, yeah, no big deal, because lawyers are very generous people. They said, yeah, no big deal, give it to them. So this happened, before I got married, before I had kids, and 10 years later, I am sitting in my office in Ottawa, in the industry, in the finance department. I'm sitting in my office in Ottawa, and I see the ticker tape going, about the Supreme Court. York University loses the Supreme Court. So I said, well, and it was that case. It took 10 years, and the Supreme Court ruled that the government was right. So what happened was that after that ruling, it got codified in law, and everybody who employs someone as a self-employed person, who gives them a T4A, should be very, very worried about this, because that's where heartaches lie. And I don't know, I think I don't have that much time, but the heartache is, it's not that you do anything wrong. What happens is something happens to the employee and they can no longer work. And it could be a car accident and they're in a hospital. Their family would say, well, weren't you working for 10 years with the ABC company? And, why don't we get support somehow? So they will go to Service Canada and apply for unemployment insurance. Even if you give them T4A, even if they have done their taxes as self-employed, they will apply for unemployment insurance and explain. Service Canada has a policy to always act on it and always agree to it. And then they send it to CRA. And CRA says, well, there was no payroll deductions. Let's do a payroll audit. And that's how it happens. That's how they come through the back door. Anyways, keep your back doors closed. Any questions?
So, Erica, I'm going to assume that if someone is a consultant with another company, that if they issue a bill and have an HST number, that kind of mitigates that, right? As opposed to the company issuing a any T4 type document.
If they are incorporated, yes. If they're not incorporated, no.
Lovely.
If you're not incorporated, because a corporation sets a wall, it sets a wall, and the government doesn't go through that wall. They might say the corporation is a personal services business and not give it this small business deduction, you know, and charge it more tax, but they will never complain about the nature of the transaction. So if it smells like an employee, if it talks like an employee, if it walks like an employee, it's an employee. It's not a consultant.
I tell you, those ducks just keep showing up.
Yeah. A lot of ducks.
Eric, thank you so much. That was is very enlightening. So first,
And I
off,
wasn't very
before you-
depressing today. I wasn't very depressing today.
Oh,
and I
you're
can't-
you're good. You were good. You were
and,
good.
and I didn't talk about succession rules and estates or anything like that, because that can be, you know, some of us are in the state in life where we have parents that are going through that, and that could be, you know, frightening.
Mhm.
Eric, great session as always. Really informative. So this is basically 2 underlying facts. Make sure you have a professional do those tax returns. If you figure you're doing too many things, and it's
Yes.
not like a normal person. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm getting paid. I'm on
Or
the payroll. I know I'm on the payroll, and you know that's easy tax. And if you're expanding into investments and multiple things, then hire a professional. An accounting professional and a lawyer professional. And each one of them
Yes.
has their own piece. I'm going to end up close this off with a quick quote, and it's not about ideas; it's about making ideas happen. That's from Scott Belsky. So that's our wrap, folks.
Good.